Well, hello everybody. This is William Jackson from Worcester, Ohio, and today I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try and answer a couple questions that guys have asked. So just give you some background. I've probably been flying since the early '80s. I started crashing a lot then, and it probably wasn't until the mid '80s till someone named Carmine taught me how to fly, and I stopped crashing so much. But that was the beginning of my flight history until the early 90s when a doctor paid me to take him on a trip to DeLand, Florida, where I met Bob Violet, Terry Nitch, Bill Harris, Bob Ferenzi, all the big name guys you've ever seen. And they were flying these things called ducted fans that were going like 200 miles an hour, and I was hooked. And I went from trainers to owning a Bob Violet T-33, which is about $3,000. And I didn't even know how to fly that good. But I had it, and I did a horrible paint job on it, and almost killed myself doing it because I painted it in one night, put it in a car, and drove all the way to an air show in Metropolis, Illinois, Superman jet rally, and the fumes almost killed me on the way there. And when I pulled the plane out of the car, the entire clear coat had crinkled, so I had the ugliest airplane there ever. But I endured the jokes and the laughter, and I stayed in the hobby. Most people probably would have got out of the hobby because it was just too much ridicule. You don't know what you're doing. You're over your head. But I stuck it out because I wanted to show that I could overcome and that nobody could do anything better than I could. Just a young guy who wanted to just stick it out. But I do remember seeing this one guy on the other side of the ropes, and his name was Lewis Patton. He was the only black guy flying jets. And I was like, wow, there's a guy who can do this. I want to be like him. So I stuck it out. And then I decided to buy airplanes. I didn't paint airplanes. I didn't build them. I bought every used airplane that I could afford. And I never did what I do now. So now, after the recession of 2008 and I got laid off, I got out of jets and I was in turbines. Finally got my turbine waiver, started flying some BVM Bandits and stuff, but then the recession hit, and keeping the house was more important than going to jet rallies. So eventually, in 2010, I went back to work, and then the money came back, but then this foam airplane stuff came out, and it started getting better and better, and through the years, we all see that it is better, and it's really exciting, and I kind of took a liking to it. I did some really small ones first, and painting them with some spray paint and some tape, and that was it. And then they came out with this big T-28 from E-Flight, and I fell in love with it. And then I fell in love with the big Cessna 150 that E-Flight came out with. And then the jets started coming out. And of course, everybody knows that's the Free Wing A-10, and it was all gray when I got it. And when I got that plane, I fell in love with it immediately and did not even fly it. I went straight into painting it. And so I painted it, went on YouTube, went on the internet, searched around, watched everybody, RC Geek, bunch of modelers on YouTube to see what they were doing, and other guys on other web pages. And, everybody's kind of almost like the same. But, you take a little bit of everybody's talent and you mix it together and make it your own. And you just got to learn how to do it. Practice makes perfect. My first plane didn't look that good, but I worked at it and figured out what works, what didn't work, and little steps, like doing the rivets and stuff, panel lines and decals and cockpits and propellers, and just making it your own. So that's how I got into this. That's to answer a couple questions that guys You don't want to know how I got in it. What's my passion. Really, I got into this thing because I needed some way to relax after work. Being a network engineer is very stressful. So coming home at night and putzing around the garage was, great, just to get my mind off of my work. And you ask that question, why are you paying attention so much to the details, these playing? And it was because my job was required me to pay attention to the details. Every time we made a mistake, it was because somebody didn't pay attention to the details. So on these planes, I'm not a perfect guy. I'm not trying to make Top Gun quality show type airplanes. I'm trying to make William Jackson type quality, not to be embarrassed type planes that I can go to any air show, any jet rally, any event, and be proud and confident of what I brought. It flies and it looks good, and I don't have to ever be ashamed after that first jet rally I went to and got laughed at. It'll never happen again. Never, ever. Because I'm going to take my time, I'm going to do it right, and I might do a little bit extra just to make sure somebody says, ooh, he did that, rather than just do a little bit and call it a day. Because for me, everybody's a great painter out there. There's tons of painters out there. You guys are fantastic painters. You guys are great detailers. Now we got this 3D modeling. You guys can do anything with a plane. So I'm just trying to just make something that makes me happy. I'm not going to be embarrassed. I'm not going to go into any contest because I know I can't win, because I'm not going to be that super detail guy. I'm just going to be enough to make me happy and to keep me busy in my garage shop. So you asked me why the MiG. Well, when the MiG came out, it was the biggest jet, because I had done prop planes up to that point. And when that jet came out, I did the Avanti first, but when the MiG came out, I was like, I need a big plane. And I liked that it was twin engine. I liked that it had a lot of features like the louvers, and it had the speed brake and the doors with the lights on them. Because if you see the real one line up on the runway, just before that guy takes off, he flicks on those lights. And I'm like, dude, I will have that. And yes, I got it on my plane. I got an electronic switch in there, and it turns on just before I take off. The lights come on, the speed brake closes, and down the runway we go, up we go. And then when I get ready to land, the speed brake opens, and I land, and as soon as I touch down, the chute goes out. And when I taxi back, I turn the lights off, and I pop the canopy open. So that's basically why I did the MiG. I want to see those series events happen with a plane that I own. Do I have a plan when I buy these planes and do them? No, I have no plans. I have no idea what I'm going to do. The F4 Phantom back there, that sat almost a half a year before I painted it because I had no plan. I really wasn't happy with that camo scheme because I crashed a Bandit that had a camo scheme like that. It was tough to see. It was bad karma, and I never wanted to do a camo again because of that crash. And so I let it sit. And then one day I was looking on the internet, and there was this F4 Phantom with this red and white stripe looking tail, and I was like, dude, I've never seen that before. And so I did it, and I'm happy with it, and it's all tricked out and all detailed. So, just to give you guys the guys who haven't seen it, you go to my webcam, you'll see it. It's pretty cool. I like it. Of course, this big is my wife. She bought that for me for Christmas without telling me. But it's now going to be my practice plane. And a lot of people have already seen the A10 because it's been around almost 2 or 3 years now. And it flies great, looks beautiful still, I like it. And it's got about 8 coats of men wax on it before the paint goes on. I just took the gray paint scheme that was on there. I didn't even take it off. I just put men wax on it 8 coats, and then started painting it and detailing it. And this is almost 3 years old, and it's solid as a rock. The Avanti back there, that was one of the early projects I did, and it's great. It flies great. It's my little scooter, I call it, man. A little quick. I may upgrade the engine in it. Definitely going to put an afterburner in it, and that's about all that's going to happen with that. So that's basically, what you guys missed today on the show. And how I pick my schemes, the schemes are just, I go on the internet and Google the plane and start looking for day after day after day after day after day after day till I find a scheme. I look at it and go, how many guys are going to do this scheme? I don't want to do the scheme that everybody's going to do, because you see some of them online go, oh man, look at that. There's going to be about 10 guys that do that. And then it's going to be who does it better. So I just decided to look for schemes that look weird, that nobody's ever going to plan to do it. And if you think you know what this MIG's going to look like, you probably don't. And the guys that I did tell, don't tell anybody, because it's going to be a surprise to the rest of the guys. So let's get a quick, before my time is up here, we got the speed brake back here, top and bottom. That's going to open up. That's on 2 servos. Frank Born from Germany gave me the 3D prints for the APU. He also did he has a box that you can get to do this grid here. But I use his box underneath this because I had already built this. But the box underneath makes it look 3D. So thanks, Frank, on that. A lot of you guys know about the camera system on a MiG. Well, mine's actually going to be a real one because I found one on the internet that was cheap, and I was like, it wouldn't hurt to put it in there. I had it in here the other night testing it, but I got to take it out because I got paint on it, and I don't want to get the dome all dirty again. That was a project. So, I did these vents, and that's an auxiliary airflow for it. If I could probably close up the other ones under the bottom because this is probably enough to do it. The other thing that you guys asked me about was, the gear door. The gear door is on a stiff cable connected to a servo that's going to bring this door up the proper way, bring it down, and then this light's going to turn on. And you're going to have, the light on the nose gear and the 2 landing gears. So that's what I'm going for on this plane. Also, a lot of you guys have asked me, I've been working weeks and weeks trying to get this line the way I like it. A little bit every day, a little bit just keep puttying it, scratching it, sanding it. It's probably already going to look all right once I put some paint on it and quit messing with it. It'd probably be fine. But that's the kind of stuff that spends hours and hours on. Outside of the mechanicals that I did for the speed brake and the parachute system, probably took a month each, because here's my one words of wisdom, because everybody wants the answer, how it works, how the canopy opens up. What I did was I came into the shop and I sat down and I looked at it and I said, what would it take for it to do this and to do this and to do this and to do this? And I sat there for hours doing this until I could visualize it in my mind. What do I need? What pivot point and what action on a lever to get it to do this and do these 3 movements and make it work with 1 servo? And I did that for hours and hours and hours and hours, days and days and days, until I actually did, started making cardboard cutouts and then a piece of wood, a balsa, and then I actually did it. So then I hooked the servo up, and then I pushed this rod hours and hours and days. And you'll probably see a couple, well, I took those videos down, but the videos were boring to me that showed me making it, because it was just me pushing it, and I stopped the video because I wanted to see how it worked. Well, you guys aren't interested in that kind of stuff, so you just want to see the pretty thing. It goes up and down. So basically that's what it is. Oh, so This is the prototype. And what I do, and why Motion probably likes me, is I buy stuff from them to be prototype. Like I bought this canopy system. I brought an extra set of wings because I'm going to be doing leading edge flaps on it. And I need a prototype to cut up and tear up. And this is not going to be the one that goes on this plane, but it was the prototype to show me how to make this action do that. Hours and hours of that. And my good friend Frank Bourne out of Germany is helping me with this canopy rail. And we're trying to get that done. He's making me some 3D pieces because this thing has got to come down and it's got to lock in place. And basically what I'm going to do, it's going to slide forward and lock in place. And then it's going to come back out and then it's going to open up. And that's not exactly scale on the back end because I can't get a detailed picture of a MIG to show me how to do that. So I'm just guessing at what it would take for me to make it work. So that's the best I could come up with. I am going to change a few parts in here, make them a little bit smaller and lighter so that I get more space in here where there's a battery that goes up in here. But because of my plane, it's going to be a little bit heavier. I'm going to probably be using the forward bay to put a battery in it to offset what's going on in the back. Yes, you're going to gain some weight from painting your airplane, but this time I'm painting with an airbrush, so I'm not putting on as much paint as I did on all my other planes because I didn't know any better, but I know better now. I put less Mim-Wax on it and more, less paint on it. So this one is not going to be that much heavier. It'll probably be lighter than all my other planes, and they flew great. And they're not gonna win no 200-mile-an-hour contest. They're not gonna be no speed demons. But I don't build these planes to be speed demons. I build them to fly, scale, do 3 laps, a roll, a loop, and a scale type landing, and that's it. Mission complete. Go back to the pits and get in a chair and drink some Kool-Aid. So I'm not here trying to burn. I can make a burner if I want, you know. If I want to, I can just pull out my Bandit. It's still got its turbine in it. You want to see something go 200 miles an hour, but that's not my boat anymore. I'm not the speed guy. I'm more into precision flying, you know, do it right. And once again, I have to say his name. Lewis Patton taught me that. He told me, do a routine. No matter where you go, do the same routine every time and you'll never, ever have a problem. It doesn't matter what the wind's doing, what the sky's doing. You know your routine. It's the same routine you practice in your backyard, at your practice field. You fly the same way every way. And you know what happened? I stopped crashing. I got all these planes all over here because I stopped crashing because I came up with a routine that I follow every time. You take off the same way, you go through the same 3 or 4 maneuvers, you have a good time, you set up for a landing, and you set up a landing precisely like you do in a real plane. I don't dive for the runway, I don't try and do all this crazy stuff. I set up my landing well in advance, and then I just fly it in with throttle. I don't have to be trying to be doing a bunch of crazy. I'm not the best flyer, but I'm still around. I've been around a long time. So, no, I'm not going to show you the workings of this inside plane because once I get it painted and show it off, then I'll show everybody it because then you guys can copy me, or if you want to, if you don't, it's all right. But I'll be on to something else after this MiG because I got boxes and boxes of planes over here that I'm ready to start working on something new because this MiG is, oh my God, you guys just don't know the time I put into this. But I put it in because it has to make me happy. I could have painted this plane in 3 days and been done with it, been on the internet and shown it off and everything. But that's not what it's all about. To do it the Jackson way would have been to open up the louvers, put a leading edge flaps on it, speed brake, parachute system that works that I didn't even ask anybody how to make one. But I did talk to RC Jet Dude, and come to find out when me and him started passing notes and I finally looked at a schematic of his, Ours are identical except for one or two things. And the biggest thing is he uses springs out of a ink pen to fire his out. And the average umbrella has 3 springs in it. And I use the springs out of an umbrella to fire my parachute out the back. And that's basically the difference in the number of servos we have that make that thing work. But it's amazing how like minds separated by hundreds and hundreds of miles think about the same way. So RC Jet Dude, he's a dude, man. Might take my hat off to that guy. That guy's good. I'll never be in his class. But you know, I'll be in the same school, but I won't be in his class. I just can't get there, man. He's way up there. But I'm good. And I appreciate all the good comments and words that people have said across the internet about me and Motion RC. You know, giving my my Facebook channel and my YouTube channel a shout out. I really appreciate James trying to get me on his show today, and really appreciate everything that he did. You know, he's a good guy, and supporting Motion RC. You know, buy their product, buy their planes. I buy a lot of your accessory stuff because I buy your glues and stuff, and and I buy wings, extra spare parts, extra canopies. I got probably 3 of these canopies laying up here just in case I screw one up. I buy all these spare parts because I'm engineering, I'm designing, I'm being creative. And to every guy out there who says he can't do what I did, the reason why you can't do this is because you didn't try. And I mean, not once, not twice, not even 3 times. I tried something probably for a month. Like I said, this canopy, no one showed me how to make this canopy work. I worked on that for months. But, and that speed brake, oh my God, same thing with that, man. I was up at 1 o'clock in the morning making prototypes to make that, because I wanted a scale hinge to make that thing work. And so, you got to do that. And what's the mechanics behind opening it up and closing it back down, and getting the timing and all that stuff together. It just took time, and then the little pieces you got to put together to make the thing work. So that's basically what happened. And I'll tell you right now, it's been a joy. It's been a fun time. But I'm encouraging every guy out there: try, and try. You can't paint a show plane the first time you go out there. Just paint a little plane. Just paint a stripe on it. My Cub was just a yellow stripe that I did with a spray can. I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. I put a yellow stripe on my E-Flight, 80-inch Cub. And I was like, man, I'm different from everybody else. That's where it started, with just a stripe. And then I put the next plane 2 stripes. And then you look at something and you start, get on the YouTube and find out, how to do camo and how to do these digital designs. Nothing is hard. It's all willpower. You want your canopy open, you can make that happen. Just will it, because you can do anything. We're humans. We put a man on the moon 6 times. We can do anything we want. So the same thing with these planes here, just have fun. And the reason why, here's another question somebody asked me: why am I not done? It'll be done shortly. I'm getting close to being done, and I can start painting it. But the reason why I'm not done, if you watch my channel or my Facebook page, I wanted to have fun this time. I didn't want to be under the pressure trying to get there, get it done. And then I look back and I go, man, I don't even remember doing it. Same thing with that A10. I pushed for that, trying to make it to an air show. That F4 Phantom, I was trying to make an air show. And I was pushing hard. I mean hard to get those planes ready. And now that they're done, it's kind of like, man, I didn't enjoy that process at all. But the MiG, I'm going to enjoy whether people like it or not. I'm taking my time. I'm enjoying every one of these rivets that I put in here. I'm enjoying these vents, because you guys think this was easy to do. This was not. Because I did a lot of stuff, but then I had to take it back out because somebody offered to give me a 3D part. So all the balsa pieces that I built, somebody else came along and said, I'll build you a 3D piece for it. There you go. So Frank Bourne, Germany. Great guy. Thank you. Chris, Duke Sid out of France. Christopher, you are my beloved friend, dude. You call me all the time and encourage me late into the night. You just don't know. Um, Michael Manaka out of Columbus, Ohio. He has been doing my 3D printing for me. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate your help. Wayne Mason out of Kentucky. He's the guy who keeps coming in and saying, hey man, add one more thing to it. You know, every time I talk to him, he's like, go one more up, man. You've come this far. Do that. And of course, you know, Christopher out of France has challenged me and pushed me. It's going to have a detailed cockpit like his. You know, it's going all the way. So you're going to see a lot of changes to the MiG. If you see it now, you see it next week. It's going to be changing all the time because guys are just giving me the stuff and they're helping, not just criticizing. These guys actually offer some tangible stuff for me to be a better modeler, and they're pushing me, and I appreciate that. And there's so many guys I don't want to forget. Oh, Sam Taylor, he's the guy who did my fans of William Jackson Scale RC Facebook page. Sam has been just a great guy, man. It's amazing how you can find friends all over the world in this hobby. And in these days and times, I am just marveling at how many people are my friends. And I haven't even seen them except for their picture or maybe a video or some time that we just put in on the internet. But it's been fun. Hopefully this answered some of your questions and you appreciate it. I'm gonna get back to work on the planes because I just wanted to say because I didn't have a good internet connection today. This is my world and it could be more, but hey, I like you guys. I appreciate your help and let's keep the hobby going. This is Jetman, and I'm out.